Do you care about America? Do you have stakes in America? And when I say stakes, I mean family, people that you care about, kids, nieces, nephews. America is going down the wrong track, and we're allowing all of this to happen. It started as a drip, and now that tap water is running. And it seems as if we don't actually have a way to stop it. And I'm talking about the militarization of American streets. ICE is supposed to be immigration and customs enforcement. Normally, they'll get a warrant from a judge, they'll know exactly where someone is, and then they'll go pick them up. That's why Obama, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Biden, they deported millions of people, and you didn't hear anything about it because there was a process. Donald Trump is deporting far less people than those presidents with a lot of cruelty. I see ICE in the streets firing tear gas and pepper balls and shooting people in the face and the head with those things. That's not a part of ICE job description, and you can go read it. Crowd control is not a part of ICE job description. ICE should not be holding a city hostage. And if the governor or the mayor needs help to deal with crime, they can call up the National Guard. They don't call on ICE. The powers that ICE are using now is illegal. Arresting people, busting out windows, dragging people through the streets. And these people are citizens. What policy, what law gave ICE the right to do that? And by the way that I'm looking at their performance, I can tell that these guys are not real law enforcement. Myself, I was law enforcement, right? And I served the people. And there were times when you have to be a little bit heavy-handed based on who you're dealing with and where you're at. But that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing peaceful protesters standing on the other side of the street, and ICE just started throwing flashbangs. We used to complain about that stuff when it happens in Syria, that Assad was using chemical weapons against his people. That's exactly what we're doing here in America. We're talking about going to help the protesters in Iran and how much we stand with them. I do. I do stand with the protesters in Iran. They're fighting for the right cause. But I don't want to hear Donald Trump and his administration say they're going to help the people there. How about helping the people here? An ICE agent shot and killed a woman who was driving away. Obviously, there's no other camera angle that can show us anything different. It can only show us something worse because of all the camera angles that I've seen for myself. Right? And the president, the vice president, the DHS secretary came out immediately and said that this shooting was justified. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Never. And normally the government would step back and allow the investigation to play out. Not these guys. These guys block the state from accessing evidence to do a parallel investigation. Therefore, they're saying that the investigation into this dude Ross was closed, and the DOJ told the state prosecutor to investigate Renee Nicole Good and her partner and any organization that they were a part of. Do you see what's going on here? Or are we just gonna sit back and let this continue? Let me get to my point. We need democratic leadership. These Democrats are staying quiet because they're benefiting from ICE being brutal. Because the companies like Palantir that's working with ICE, these Democrats have shares in those companies. And you don't hear a thing. Why do we need these guys? We're talking about a blue wave in 2026. If Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and those guys are still there, I'm not going to vote, and you shouldn't either, because nothing will change. The way this system is set up, the Democrats and the Republicans, the Democrats are the ones that calm things down when things get out of hand, and you vote them back in so you feel like you still have a country. But the same people are running the country. It's the same donors, same policies. What do you see us getting done? Joe Biden won after Donald Trump tried to overthrow an election, and so many other people. What did we get done? What did Merrick Garland do? You who are sitting there agreeing with all of this, I still don't know who you are. I still don't know that you're fully MAGA. And you'll be dragged from your car too. And they'll be sitting on the back of your kid's neck. No one is immune from ICE, because what they're trying to do is go into blue cities, blue states, and scare people enough so they can invoke the Insurrection Act, therefore stopping the 2026 election. You don't see that? You don't see that coming? You're just sitting at home waiting for this to blow over like everything else did. No, fool. Everything was building up just for this moment when things finally take a change. I see them saying that the white race is dying, and if the white race becomes a minority, they will be hurt. We ain't got time for that. If we were gonna hurt white people, that would have started to happen a long time ago. Because there's a lot of us now, and we have the same rights that you do, and we have the same training that you do. We all know how to handle a weapon. A lot of us are snipers. But we go out and we try to raise our families, and we try to move on. But people like Stephen Miller can't allow us to move on, because he keeps thinking that there's gonna be a problem when white men become a minority. And that's how you see Trump putting all these incompetent people in all these positions, removing competency and calling it DEI and all of that kind of stuff. What Stephen Miller and Donald Trump is doing right now is creating something like what happened in the Middle East. Because we came up and we forgive and we move on, and we marry white women and our family married white men, and we start having our mixed kids, and our families are intertwined, and we love you. But there's just a few of you who won't let us get by because you think you're at risk. But what you're doing right now is putting, if you wasn't at risk before, you are putting yourself at risk now. Because these Gen Zs and these people, they think different from us. And they're willing to do what we were not willing to do. Their brains are wired different. And you're showing them what happened to people 200 years ago. You're showing them what we try not to see. Because we moved away from that. And whenever we see a few of you act like that, we just said, it's a minority, and we move on. But this time, I don't know. I see an ICE agent shot a black dude square in the face with a pepper ball from about 5 inches. They're calling protesters terrorists. They're calling fishermen terrorists. They're calling drug smugglers terrorists. And if they call you a terrorist, they can kill you. Whether you're in the waters of the Caribbean, you're in Iraq, Afghanistan, or you're right here on American soil. And whether you're Republican or you're Democrat, you're not immune. Because they come for anybody just to make a statement. And I have one other thing to say. These boys on the right who always act like they're tough guys and they're masculine and they're guns blazing and ready to go. Empty barrels make the most noise. You got a lot of dudes on the left who's just sitting, waiting, watching, who got better skills, but more patience and want to resolve things for peaceful life. But don't think for a second that they won't rise and do it. And you know why you would lose, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers? Because you show yourself and they know who you are. And you like to be in the middle of the street. The guys on the left, you won't see them. But we want peace. And we want our country back. And Stephen Miller, you should go talk to Elon Musk about your child. Probably get a DNA test. I know my child is mine. Maybe that's a fight you should pick with the trillionaire. Shit. He probably your daddy too.